In the heart of the city's ceaseless rhythm, Emily, a blind woman, found herself drawn to the voice of a mysterious stranger, a voice smooth as silk, tempting as a siren song, gently pulling her away from the familiar city sounds. She was led on a journey, not by sight but by the stranger's voice, guiding her to a secluded, tranquil place, a botanical garden hidden from the world. The stranger, a man whose charm was as unnerving as it was captivating, painted vivid images of the garden for Emily. He spun tales of exotic plants, of blooms that danced in the moonlight, their beauty unseen yet intoxicating. As he described the garden, Emily could almost see the roses, their black petals shimmering in the moonlight. Yet beneath his enchanting descriptions there was an undercurrent of unease. The garden, filled with the scent of flowers, also bore a hint of something else, something unsettling. It was the smell of decay. The smells crept up on Emily, setting her nerves on edge. His voice, like a melody in the night, wove tales of the garden's eerie allure. Each rose, he explained, was not merely a flower, but a spectral prison, a life encapsulated in eternal darkness. The roses, he said, were not born of earth and water but from the very essence of life itself. Each one a testament to a woman whose life was killed in cold blood. Their souls, he claimed, were trapped within the ebony petals, their silent screams echoing in the wind. But this was not a sight to behold, rather a chilling spectacle that sent a shiver down her spine. The scent of decay underlying the floral aroma hinted at the horrifying truth. The garden, once a haven, had morphed into a labyrinth of horrors in Emily's mind. Each gravel path, each rustling leaf, each whisper of the wind seemed to be a warning. The stranger's words, once soothing, now carried a malevolent undertone. He continued to describe the garden to Emily, but what struck her as horrifying was that the garden was incomplete, awaiting the bloom of another black rose. The implication was clear. Emily was not a guest in this garden, but a chosen sacrifice, meant to join the company trapped within the black petals. Fear gripped Emily's heart as the horrifying reality of her predicament washed over her. She was trapped in this garden of nightmares, ensnared by its winding paths and the stranger's hypnotic voice. Her breaths became shallow, her heart pounding against her chest. Yet, there was a spark of defiance, a will to survive. She was determined she would not succumb to the garden's horror. She would not become another black rose in this ghastly collection. With each step, Emily was drawn further into the labyrinth of the garden, her escape thwarted by the winding paths. Emily's heart continued to pound in her chest, each beat echoing the ticking clock of her impending fate. She spun around, her desperate hands reaching out in the darkness, scrabbling for an escape that seemed to elude her with every step. As she touched the chilling petals of the black roses, her senses alert to the silent cries of the trapped souls. The gravel paths, once her guide, now felt like shackles, constraining her within this nightmarish garden. Her breath hitched as she stumbled over unseen obstacles, the sensation of the gravel beneath her feet replaced by the softness of the grass. The garden seemed to shift around her, pulling her deeper within its clutches, a living, breathing entity that reveled in her terror. The stranger's presence was a chilling constant, though she could not see where he was, but his voice a velvet whisper that followed her every desperate turn. His laughter echoed in her ears, a haunting melody of dread. The hairs on the back of her neck prickled as she could hear the stranger draw closer, his amusement at her struggle evident in the cold lilt of his voice. Her futile attempts to escape only serving to amuse the stranger. The garden's horrifying secret was slowly revealing itself, her role in it becoming terrifyingly clear. She could feel the stranger's breath on her neck, his chilling presence a haunting reminder of the garden's true nature. The soft rustle of the black roses seemed to grow louder, their silent screams filling the air around her. In the suffocating darkness, Emily heard the stranger's sinister chuckle grow louder and louder, her disorientation playing into his cold hands. The garden stood silent, bearing witness to Emily's struggle, her life slowly draining away in the stranger's unyielding grip around her throat. His cold eyes, devoid of emotion, watched with detached amusement, as the last bits of Emily's spirit flickered and fought against the inevitable. Her body writhed in his grip, the air around them grew heavy, laden with the sweet scent of decay and the bitter tang of fear. Emily's breaths, once quick and panicked, now came in shallow gasps, each one weaker than the last. As Emily's life dwindled, her physical form started to dissipate, her body disintegrating into a mist. The stranger's grip tightened even more. In the dim light of dawn approaching, the mist began to coalesce, A new bud formed in the garden, then unfurled, revealing the darkest of all the other petals. Emily's essence was trapped within, her silent screams echoing within the confines of the newly formed black rose. The stranger released his grip, stepping back to admire his handiwork. The once vibrant and trusting woman was now nothing more than a blooming flower, another addition to his macabre collection. He reached out, his fingers gently caressing the petals of the black rose. A cruel smile played on his lips. His satisfaction was palpable, the thrill of the transformation feeding his malevolent delight. Each black rose, a symbol of his power, a testament to his control. He reveled in their grotesque beauty, their silent screams music to his ears. As dawn broke, the garden stood as a grim testament to the horrors it concealed, the stranger relishing in the grotesque beauty of his collection. The city beyond remained oblivious to his horrific desires, its inhabitants blissfully unaware of the gruesome fate that awaited those who dared to accept the stranger's invitation to this dark garden of lost souls.